You might have heard that Orlando doesn't have a lot to offer when it comes to food. As a chef and an avid traveler, I beg to differ.
This is the first piece that we noticed from these artists that was really powerful for us. We call it Betty Cariño. So what was happening is these large companies were going down into the villages and making promises to them about GMO corn and swapping out their heirloom corn, which they've been using for, literally thousands of years, for GMO corn.
Oh my God.
And that corn did not have, it was sterile, so it couldn't reproduce itself. And it also, obviously, they were pouring all kinds of stuff on the soil, killing their soil. And so it was painted in her honor. She was murdered during that fight. So this is actually one of the artist's nieces who lives in one of the villages that they were fighting for. This piece here is called La Palabra Florece, which means the word flourishes. It's basically, you're not going to shut us up, in a really subtle and beautiful way.
There's already a lot of character here,
Yeah.
but it gives it such, you can feel the culture a
Yeah.
lot more because of it.
Yep. This is an homage to Hunger Street, to La Calle del Hambre. So behind the taquero, you'll see the street scene. This is actually a Oaxacan street scene, but it's really similar to what you would see at La Calle del Hambre in Mexico City. And so that's what we base it off of. And then the guy here, La panza es primero, basically is a saying that the stomach comes first.
Ooh, I like
Okay,
that
so
saying.
yeah, it's a great little saying, really catchy. He's been a taquero in Oaxaca for years, like basically his whole life. And so we used him as sort of our focus.
La panza es primero.
Yeah.
That's a good way to live
Yeah,
life.
it works, right?
I feel like that's what you guys do and it works.
Yeah.
So first off, we're here because of something that Andrew Zimmern said. You guys heard about what he said, right?
Yeah, it made the rounds.
Yeah? You heard about what he said. So what he
Yeah.
said is that Orlando doesn't have much to eat. It's not a food destination. And I beg to differ. What do you guys think?
I think that if you had limited yourself to Fairbanks 5 years ago and maybe like a quarter-mile stretch, then yeah, you're right. But Orlando has a ton to offer, and especially it's gone from a place where you could essentially pick between the fast food joints 10 years ago to a really just budding scene of local chefs and mom and pop type restaurants that are really challenging each other, I think, to bring out the best in each other, and there's a lot of camaraderie between us all. It's not a competitive feel at all. It's very much we check in with each other. We see how everybody's doing. We talk about what we've got coming up. We do a lot of collaboration.
5 years ago, maybe it wasn't the same, and it's just getting better every single day because of restaurants like Hunger Street opening up, and you guys have some really amazing dishes here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we sort of, our goal is really just to highlight and celebrate it's 3 parts. Highlight and celebrate the food, culture, and art of Mexico. People give us probably more credit than we're due because all we do is we say, we're going to highlight this amazing food, and it lends itself to what you see here.
So, what do we have here? David, tell me a little bit about
All
this
right,
chicharron
let's start
in
with
particular.
The chicharron de queso. Right here
Yes.
we have a block of Gouda cheese that we sear on the grill, and then while it's still pliable, we form it into a cylindrical shape. You break that off like a chip, and you eat it with guac and salsa.
It's so savory and so good. I love it, I love it, I love it. And then what is this other dish? It's so
So
interesting.
this is actually esquite, so it's the same concept as elote except for it's off the cob. And I think it's a lot better just because you're able to work with it and get more creative. So ours is cooked in a bone marrow broth reduction.
It's essentially confit,
So it's like corn confit.
essentially in bone marrow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
That sounds
so
decadent.
savory.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well
You
then.
want to give it a shot? So don't forget the lime.
I'm gonna be a little messy, but I gotta put some
And it's
lime
not
on there.
there just as a garnish.
Always. All right. Oh, that's so good. And then this is saving me right now.
Yes.
What do we have here?
That's our Jamaica, which is basically hibiscus tea. It's a Jamaican sorrel. We've got it in the tea, and then we've got it in the taco. So this is our sautéed hibiscus flower with guac taco, basically.
In Mexico, they actually have the hibiscus tacos.
Oh, yeah.
This is a normal thing. Huh. Okay, that is
And it's
jam-packed.
done a lot at home because obviously you're going to try and save, on everything that you're doing. So if you're making the tea, you might as well make the taco, right? So you're going to have all that left over once you've made the tea because you've steeped all of these flours, and then you can saute it up and go to town. It's almost like beef jerky, but it's a flour.
It's
right?
so delicious. And the floral...
It's a meaty texture, though. It's filling.
I would eat that. I mean, I don't miss the meat at all.
Yeah.
So you actually have a couple of vegan items on your menu. Do
We
you
got a
feel
ton,
like...
but not intentionally.
Okay.
It's just Mexican food really lends itself to that, and so, we obviously it was like, well, this is technically vegan, so we.
So you let people know.
I mean, this is a perfect example of it.
Okay,
We
let
can
me
talk
try
about
that. What is
next.
that?
This actually just got named
Switch that
by
over.
Orlando Weekly top 5 dishes in Orlando. This is it's a vegan.
Exciting.
Garbanzo bean tlacoyo.
Yeah, garbanzo bean tlacoyo, which is a chickpea. It's a masa cake that's stuffed with, it's almost like a calzone, right?
Okay.
But it's stuffed with chickpea,
Okay.
and then it's topped with black bean, guac, salsa, cabbage, cilantro, etc.
That looks good. So this is a vegan dish.
Yeah. So
But we have a lot of vegan places here in Orlando. Are you happy that you have some vegan dishes? Do you have people come in and say that they're...
we have a ton of vegan customers, and it's something that obviously we're conscious of.
What do people want? What do people ask for? What do people look
They
for?
want something new. They want something that they're not going to be able to find at chain restaurant. They want something that's going to be made with someone's heart and passion and love put into the food.
I think that's true. And actually, I don't even feel like you need to be a foodie in the city anymore to not go to chains. I have not been to a chain restaurant in a really long time here.
Yeah.
But that's because there's so many great options all over town, like in Winter Park and even by International Drive. There are restaurants
Amazing
that
restaurants.
are not chains that are fantastic.
Yep.
Were either of you born in Mexico?
I was born down there. I was born in Guadalajara and then grew up in Acapulco and then went back in college to live in Mexico City.
From age 12 to about 25, I was in Mexico every summer.
Met my wife Sadie there, who obviously a lot of this stuff, she's from Mexico City. A lot of this stuff is inspired from her childhood memories as well as ours. We did Hunger Street tacos. Hunger Street is it's basically a street that runs through a neighborhood close to where my wife grew up that's basically lined with taquerias. And they would go out dancing and then they'd say, vamos a la calle del hambre, which is basically, let's go to Hunger Street. So they'd go there and then they'd decide, let's go to this restaurant, let's go to that restaurant. So when we were coming up with the name, we wanted it to be in English, but obviously Hunger Street is not by nature Mexican. So we added the tacos on there so that it would identify with Mexican food. But it's honestly, like, I feel like people are missing out if they just come and get tacos.
So, I mean, there are a lot of taco places in Orlando, right? Wouldn't you agree? Now. So what do you feel like they're being authentic? Do you feel like you're being authentic? Or like, how would you kind of compare?
There are mom and pops in Orlando that are hole in the walls that are selling authentic or close to authentic Mexican food for very cheap. The problem that you have in some of these places is that they're not in an ambiance or setting that is acceptable to Americans, right? And so that was one thing that we were sensitive to. We wanted to create a setting, even though we're sitting out here sweating, it's in a setting that at least is something that Americans want. So, and so as a result, sometimes you don't have the freshness in the food because there isn't that volume, churning. There are exceptions to that rule, obviously. And there are some classic places that we go to,
Well, that says a lot that in Orlando, the chefs, the owners of these restaurants, including you guys, you all hang out. You all get along.
Sure.
You all, talk about recipes, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about
Techniques and all day long.
That's really great because I feel like then that makes you better and that makes all of the restaurants, essentially,
Sure.
better and better.
Yep. We cook together. We have a lot of fun together. I was a foodie as a child and never knew it, because they were eating unbelievable stuff, as a family, out of necessity, or not out of necessity, but out of custom that, Americans wouldn't even consider or are not used to. It's a young culture, right? And so I don't think that's bad, but I feel like we're in our infancy and we're sort of spreading our wings, and so that's exciting. I think that probably what Zimmern saw, based off of an experience from years ago, is the Mousetown sort of mentality, and so thinking that Disney is the only thing here, and obviously that's changed a lot, and I think that that's evidenced even by what you'll see on iDrive now, in touristy areas. If Orlando somehow becomes a food destination on top of what it already is, then we've got something that's golden.
We got at least 20 fantastic restaurants that you could tell anybody, hey, go here, go there.
This was delicious. I think we should try some dessert.
Let's do it.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you see a flan, you'll see it's kind of like sponge-like because it's too much egg. It's too custardy. This has a perfect balance of just straight, smooth butter. Does it not?
That is so good.
Don't forget.
I can tell it's probably not good for me, but
It's good for your
I
soul.
kind of like it.
Good for your soul.
I kind of like that. Oh my gosh.
This is flan on steroids.
So is that the same recipe on top?
Very similar, yeah.
Oh, so it's a little different.
And then this is called choco flan, or the impossible cake. And this I've been working on for literally 8 years, I'm kind of ashamed to say. So it's chocolate cake topped with flan, and it's one of those things that basically it's the caramel goes down first, the cake goes in, and then the flan, and then they change places during the baking process.
How does it just change places, and how does it not get mixed at all?
It's bizarre, right?
Science.
Science, yeah. That's the most delicious science I've ever experienced. Wow. So where do we see Orlando food culture going in the future?
Oh, that's...
Yeah, now that's the big question.
Oh, I mean, you got a lot of young, talented people coming up.
The great thing about a lot of these local restaurants that have opened is there's a lot of young talent within those restaurants that are really pushing the boundaries and pushing themselves on a daily basis. We see it. And frankly, I feel like millennials get a bad rap. At the end of the day, I've been witnessing, especially at places like East End Market, you see people that are there every day, working their tails off, pushing themselves to learn new things, and moving around too, not because they can't hold a job, but because they want to keep learning.
So much fun.
And so that's really cool to see. So I think that the future is very, very bright.
So what about for Hunger Street? Do you see yourselves expanding? Do you want to just continue trying out recipes here? Where do you guys see the restaurant going?
Yeah, I mean, our sort of, like I mentioned in our mission at the beginning, as long as we're highlighting and celebrating food, culture, and art of Mexico, then we'll continue to push. Whether that means in other locations or not, I'm not sure yet, but we're definitely interested in that. And also, I feel like, we're just getting started, so we're not like pushing as hard as I think probably some other places might be, just because we're having a great time here and we're not like dying, with space limitations, etc.
Mm-hmm. So there's still space.
Yeah. Eat this.